Every morning at 5:30 a.m., Lily Prescott watched him from behind the reception desk, the guy with the perfect form who never seemed to break a sweat, even during his most intense workouts. He was as consistent as the sunrise, arriving precisely at 5:45 a.m. without fail, politely nodding hello before diving into his routine. This Wednesday was no different as Lily stifled a yawn, wondering why anyone with a choice would voluntarily wake up this early. "Good morning," he said, his voice warm as he approached the desk. Today, instead of just nodding, he stopped and smiled at her. "Morning," Lily replied, trying not to look surprised at the break in routine. "Heading to the weights today or starting with cardio?" She wasn't supposed to memorize the workout patterns of members, but this guy Yates Grayson, according to his membership profile, was impossible not to notice. "Weights first. I've got a big pitch later, need to clear my head." There was something almost vulnerable in the admission. Lily smiled. "Well, they say exercise is the best stress reliever." She swiped his membership card. "You're all set, Mr. Grayson. Just Yates, please." He lingered a moment longer than usual. "You're always here so early. Do you ever get to actually use the equipment yourself?" The question caught her off guard. Most members barely acknowledged her existence beyond the transaction of checking in. "I sneak in workouts during my breaks. Staff perk," he nodded, seeming genuinely interested. "What's your specialty?" "Boxing," she answered, surprising herself with how easily she shared this. 3 times a week with Marcus, the trainer." "Impressive," Yates said, his eyes brightening. "Maybe I'll see you in action sometime." As he walked away toward the weights section, Lily found herself watching him longer than necessary. For the first time, she wondered what Yates Grayson did outside these walls. What Lily didn't know was that Yates had been watching her too, for months now. Not in a creepy way, but with genuine intrigue that had grown into something more. The way she greeted every member with authentic warmth at an hour when most people could barely function. The way she occasionally muttered encouraging words to herself when she thought no one was listening. Yates positioned himself at the bench press, but his mind was elsewhere. Today was critical. He was presenting his renewable energy solution to potential investors, seeking another $50 million to expand his already successful company. At 34, Yates had built Eclipse Energy from nothing to a company valued at over $300 million. Not that anyone at this gym knew that. Here, he was just another guy trying to stay fit. He liked it that way. The anonymity. No one treated him differently or wanted something from him. Especially not Lily, who seemed refreshingly genuine in a world where most people changed their behavior once they discovered his net worth. After finishing his workout, Yates found himself deliberately slowing down as he passed the reception desk again. "Good session?" Lily asked, looking up from the computer. "The best," he answered, though he'd barely registered what exercises he'd done. "I noticed the boxing class schedule changed." Lily nodded. "Yeah, they moved the advanced class to Thursdays. Are you thinking of joining?" "Maybe, I've never tried it." This was a lie. Yates had trained in boxing for years, but something made him want to appear less experienced. "Would you recommend it for a beginner?" "Definitely. Marcus is great with newcomers." She hesitated, then added, "I'm actually helping teach the beginner class this Saturday." "You should come." The invitation hung between them, innocent yet somehow significant. "I will," he said decisively. "Save me a spot." Lily's smile widened. "Sure, it's at 9 a.m. 9, he repeated. "I'll be there." Walking out of the gym, Yates felt lighter than he had in months. His phone buzzed, his assistant reminding him about final preparations for the investor meeting. He would nail the pitch, he always did. But for the first time in years, his business wasn't the most interesting thing on his mind. Lily watched him leave, chiding herself for the small flutters in her stomach. Get it together, she thought. He's just being friendly. Still, she found herself hoping Saturday would come quickly. The next morning, Yates arrived at his usual time, but today he carried 2 coffee cups. He approached the desk where Lily was organizing membership forms. "I wasn't sure how you take your coffee," he said, placing both cups on the counter. So I brought options, black or with cream and sugar on the side. Lily looked at him in surprise. That's really thoughtful. She reached for the black coffee. Just a splash of cream, actually. I'll remember that, he said, watching her add a small amount of cream to her cup. You don't have to bring me coffee, Lily said, though the gesture made her morning, but thank you. Consider it payment for boxing advice, Yates replied. Any pre-class tips for Saturday? As Lily explained what to expect in the beginner's class, she noticed how intently he listened. Most guys she knew would interrupt, mansplain, or pretend they already knew everything. Yates just nodded, asked intelligent questions, and seemed genuinely interested in her expertise. So basically, don't eat a huge meal beforehand, bring water, and prepare to sweat, she concluded. Noted, he said, raising his coffee in a small salute before heading to his workout. Later that day, Lily's coworker Zoe cornered her in the staff room. So, what's the deal with you and the 5:45 guy? Zoe asked, wiggling her eyebrows suggestively. There's no deal, Lily insisted. He's just friendly. Friendly enough to bring you coffee. He's hot, Lily. And he definitely has a thing for you. He's a member, Zoe. You know how I feel about that line. After her last relationship disaster with a gym member who turned out to be married, Lily had made a strict rule for herself. No dating anyone she met at work. It was professional, practical, and protected her heart. Rules are meant to be broken, Zoe said with a wink. And not all men are like Daniel the Deceiver. Lily rolled her eyes at the nickname they'd given her ex. I'm just helping him with boxing basics. That's it. But as the week progressed, their morning interactions grew longer. Yates brought coffee each day, remembering exactly how she liked it. They discovered shared interests in hiking, obscure indie films, and a mutual hatred of cilantro. It tastes like soap. They'd both exclaimed simultaneously on Friday, causing them to laugh. By Saturday morning, Lily felt uncharacteristically nervous as she prepared for the boxing class. She arrived early to set up, arranging the equipment and checking her reflection more times than she cared to admit. The class began filling with the usual weekend warriors, and at exactly 8:55, Yates walked in wearing perfectly appropriate workout gear, nothing flashy, but clearly good quality. He caught her eye and smiled. As Lily and Marcus led the class through the warm-up, she couldn't help noticing how naturally Yates moved. For someone who claimed to be a beginner, his athletic ability was evident. During partner work, she paired herself with him to demonstrate proper form. Keep your guard up, she instructed, tapping his forearms to position them correctly. Protect your face. Like this, he asked, adjusting his stance. Perfect, she said, though something told her he already knew exactly what he was doing. Now, show me your jab. Yates threw a controlled, precise jab that was far too technically sound for a novice. You've done this before, she accused, narrowing her eyes playfully. He had the good grace to look sheepish. Maybe a little in college, it's been years though. Uh-huh, she said skeptically. Let's see that hook then, beginner. For the remainder of the class, they fell into an easy rhythm, with Lily challenging him and Yates responding with increasingly impressive techniques. By the end, they were both laughing and sweating, having forgotten the rest of the class existed. As everyone was packing up, Yates approached her again. That was incredible, he said, toweling off his face. Thanks for the private coaching. You didn't need it, she retorted. You're definitely not a beginner. Caught, he admitted. But I wouldn't have had nearly as much fun with anyone else teaching me. The comment hung between them, loaded with possibility. Listen, he continued before she could respond, I know this is probably against some gym policy, but would you want to grab lunch? There's a great place around the corner. Lily hesitated, her internal rule book flashing warning signals, but something about Yates felt different, trustworthy in a way she couldn't explain. Just as friends, he added quickly, sensing her reluctance. I promise not to throw any surprise punches. That made her laugh. Okay, she decided. Let me shower and change. 20 minutes. "I'll wait in the lobby," he said, looking genuinely pleased. 30 minutes later, they were seated at a small cafe 3 blocks from the gym. Conversation flowed easily as they discussed everything from childhood dreams to favorite books. Yates spoke about his passion for renewable energy without mentioning his company's success, framing it as an interest rather than his life's work. Lily shared her dreams of opening her own fitness studio someday, focused on making exercise accessible to everyone. "What's stopping you?" he asked. "Reality," she answered with a small laugh. "Money mainly. Commercial space in this city costs a fortune, not to mention equipment, insurance, staff." "You've clearly thought it through," Yates observed. "That's half the battle. The easier half," she said. "Anyway, it's a someday dream. For now, I'm gaining experience saving what I can." Yates nodded thoughtfully. "The best businesses start with that kind of practical passion." "Do you own a business?" she asked, realizing she still didn't know what he did for work. "I do," he said simply, then smoothly redirected. "Tell me more about what your studio would specialize in." As Lily explained her vision, Yates listened with genuine interest, occasionally asking insightful questions that showed he understood business fundamentals. She found herself sharing ideas she hadn't voiced to anyone. Their lunch stretched into coffee and then a walk through the nearby park. 3 hours passed before either of them checked the time. "I should probably get going," Lily said reluctantly. "I promised my roommate I'd help her shop for a dress this afternoon." "Of course," Yates said. They paused at the park exit, the moment awkward with possibility. "I had a great time," she offered. "Me too." He seemed to debate something internally, then asked, "Would it be okay if I called you for something not gym-related next time?" Lily knew she was crossing her self-imposed boundary but found herself nodding. "I'd like that." They exchanged numbers and with a slightly awkward wave parted ways. Lily walked home feeling lighter than she had in months, trying unsuccessfully to stop smiling to herself. What she didn't see was Yates watching her go, wearing an identical smile, before pulling out his phone to cancel 2 unnecessary meetings he'd scheduled for that evening. For the first time in years, work could wait. Over the next 2 weeks, Yates and Lily developed a routine. He still came to the gym every morning, but now they spoke longer, their conversations extending beyond pleasantries. On Wednesday evening, they met for dinner at a small Italian restaurant where Yates confessed his inability to cook anything more complicated than scrambled eggs. "I find that hard to believe," Lily said, twirling pasta around her fork. "You seem so capable at everything else." "Trust me, I've set off the fire alarm making toast," he admitted. "My assistant banned me from the office kitchen after I exploded a microwave trying to heat up soup." "Your assistant?" Lily raised an eyebrow. "That sounds important," Yates shrugged. "It's just practical. I'm terrible with scheduling." He'd been deliberately vague about his work, mentioning only that he was in the energy sector. Not dishonest, but not forthcoming either. Each time he considered telling Lily about Eclipse Energy, something held him back. It wasn't that he thought she'd treat him differently, it was more that he enjoyed being known for himself, not his success. The following Saturday, they went hiking in the mountains outside the city. Halfway up the trail, they stopped for water at a scenic overlook. "I've been meaning to ask," Lily said, catching her breath. "Why the gym at 5:45 every morning? Most people with flexible schedules would choose a more humane hour." Yates looked out over the valley before answering. "It started as necessity. When I first launched my company, early mornings were the only time I could squeeze in exercise. Then it became habit." He paused. "Plus, there's something I like about starting the day before everyone else. It feels like stealing time." Lily nodded. "I get that. Though in my case, I'm there because opening shift pays better, not by choice." "Do you like working at the gym?" "Beyond the paycheck, I do," she said thoughtfully. "I like helping people start their fitness journeys. It's not what I want forever, but it's meaningful for now." They continued hiking, the conversation shifting to lighter topics. By the time they reached the summit, Lily was certain of 2 things. She was developing real feelings for Yates, and she still knew frustratingly little about his life outside their time together. Later that evening, after Yates had dropped her home, Lily's curiosity got the better of her. She opened her laptop and typed his name into the search engine. What appeared made her heart skip. Dozens of business articles about Yates Grayson, founder and CEO of Eclipse Energy, one of the fastest-growing renewable energy companies in the country. Photos of him speaking at conferences, closing major deals, standing beside politicians and celebrities. And most staggeringly, multiple references to his net worth estimated at over $200 million. Lily stared at the screen in disbelief. The man who brought her coffee each morning, who struggled to throw a proper uppercut, or pretended to, who wore the same faded gym shoes every day, was one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the clean energy sector. She felt a complex mix of emotions: surprise, confusion, and something like hurt. Why hadn't he told her? Did he not trust her? Or worse, was this some kind of game to him? The next morning, Yates arrived at the gym at his usual time, coffee in hand. He could tell immediately something was wrong. Lily's smile was strained, her greeting professional rather than warm. "Everything okay?" he asked, sliding her coffee across the counter. "Fine," she said, not meeting his eyes. "Just tired." Yates frowned. "Did I do something?" Lily finally looked at him, conflict evident in her expression. "Why didn't you tell me who you are?" The question hung between them, heavy with implication. Yates felt his chest tighten. "Ah, that's it? Ah," there was hurt in her voice now. "I had to Google you to find out you're basically a celebrity in the business world." "I'm not a celebrity," he said quietly, "and I was going to tell you. When it felt relevant." He ran a hand through his hair, searching for words. "Look, Lily, when people find out about my company, about the money, things change. They see the success before they see me." "So you just decided not to mention that tiny detail?" She kept her voice low, aware of other staff nearby. "I wanted you to know me, not my bank account or my company," he said. "Is that so wrong?" Before she could answer, another member approached the desk. Lily turned to help them, her professional mask sliding perfectly into place. "We should talk about this," Yates said when she was finished. "Later, after your shift." "I don't know, Yates. I need to think." She handed him his membership card back. "Enjoy your workout." The dismissal stung. As he went through his routine mechanically, Yates realized how important Lily had become to him in such a short time. The thought of losing her over this misunderstanding made his chest ache. Lily, meanwhile, spent her shift oscillating between anger and understanding. Part of her saw his perspective. She'd certainly encountered people who behaved differently around wealth. But another part felt deceived, wondering what else he might be hiding. By the time her shift ended, she'd decided to at least hear him out. She found him waiting in the cafe across the street, 2 untouched coffees on the table. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he said as she sat down. "Neither was I," she admitted, "but I figured you deserve a chance to explain." Yates took a deep breath. "I should have told you sooner. But my experience has been complicated. People either want something from me or they assume I'm a certain type of person because of my success. And you thought I'd be like that?" The question came out smaller than she intended. "No," he said immediately. "That's the thing. From the first morning we really talked, I felt like you saw me, not my job or status or anything else. Do you know how rare that is?" He leaned forward. "I've had people change their entire personality when they find out what I do. Suddenly they agree with everything I say, laugh at jokes that aren't funny, pretend to care about renewable energy." Lily softened slightly. "I understand that, but there's a difference between not leading with your job title and actively hiding a huge part of your life." "You're right," he acknowledged. "I crossed from privacy into deception, and I'm sorry. I should have trusted you more." They sat in silence for a moment, the busy cafe continuing around them. "So," she finally said, "Eclipse Energy, that's impressive, self-made." "Mostly," he nodded. "Started in my garage 10 years ago with some experimental solar designs. Got lucky with timing and some key patents. That's not luck, she countered. That's skill and hard work. There's always some luck involved, he said with a small smile. Right place, right time. Like meeting you because you happen to work the early shift. The comment hung between them, a reminder of the connection they'd been building. Is there anything else I should know? She asked. Any other massive secrets? I have an irrational fear of butterflies, he offered, his expression serious. And I once played a tree in my 5th grade play because I forgot to audition. Despite herself, Lily laughed. Butterflies? They're insects with propaganda, he said defensively. Everyone thinks they're beautiful, but they're just bugs with good PR. Just like that, the tension between them eased, not completely gone, but manageable now. I want to know the real Yates, she said, all of him, not just the parts that are convenient to share. I want that too, he agreed. No more half-truths. Starting now. Over the next hour, he told her about building his company, the failures and successes, the pressure of responsible growth. She shared more about her dreams for her own business, her family back in Minnesota, the reasons fitness had become so central to her life. As they talked, Lily realized that the man sitting across from her was still the same person she'd been getting to know, just with more context now. His wealth didn't define him any more than her current job defined her. So what happens now? She asked as they finally prepared to leave. I'd like to keep seeing you, he said simply. If you're willing. Lily considered this. I'm willing, but on one condition. Name it, no more secrets and no more pretending to be bad at boxing. Yates grinned. Deal, though I really did learn some new techniques from you. Flattery will get you everywhere, she said, smiling despite herself. The following month brought a deepening of their relationship. True to his word, Yates opened up about his life. He took her to his company headquarters, where she was surprised by how many employees knew him by name, not just title. He introduced her to his childhood friend who served as CFO and showed her the lab where they developed new solar technology. This is where the magic happens, he explained, showing her prototypes of their latest solar panels. 30% more efficient than anything else on the market. It's incredible, Lily said, genuinely impressed not just by the technology but by the passion with which he spoke about it. You really care about this. It's not just business for me, he admitted. My grandmother's small town was devastated by coal plant closures. The economic impact was brutal, but the environmental damage was worse. I wanted to create clean energy solutions that also created good jobs. Seeing this side of him, the visionary entrepreneur deeply committed to his mission, added new dimensions to Lily's understanding of who Yates was. In turn, she shared more of herself. She took him to her tiny apartment, introduced him to her roommate, and showed him the detailed business plan she'd been developing for her future fitness studio. This is really comprehensive, Yates said, genuinely impressed as he reviewed her financial projections. Have you shown this to any potential investors? Not yet, she admitted. It still needs work and I need more capital of my own first. I know some people who might be interested, he offered cautiously. No pressure, but when you're ready. I'll let you know, she said firmly. But I want to earn this myself. Yates nodded, respecting her independence. As summer turned to fall, their relationship deepened. Yates continued his morning gym routine, though now he occasionally joined Lily for coffee before her shift rather than after checking in. The gym staff had long since noticed their relationship, but maintained professional boundaries while Lily was working. One crisp October morning, Yates arrived at the gym looking unusually nervous. Instead of heading to the weights, he lingered at the reception desk. Everything okay? Lily asked. You seem distracted. I'm fine, he said, though he kept fidgeting with his water bottle. Actually, I wanted to ask you something. Lily raised an eyebrow. Okay. There's a clean energy conference in Paris next month. I'm giving the keynote speech. He paused. Would you come with me? 10 days, all expenses paid. We could extend it into a vacation if you want. Lily blinked in surprise. Paris, that's wow. Is that a good wow or a how do I let this guy down gently wow? It's a good wow, she assured him. But I can't just take 10 days off without notice, and I'd need to pay my own way. I've already spoken to your manager, Yates admitted. They said they could work with whatever time you need. As for expenses, consider it a business opportunity. The conference has workshops on corporate wellness programs. Your expertise would be valuable. Lily narrowed her eyes. Did you create a professional reason for me to be there? Maybe, he said, looking slightly guilty. But it's legitimate, and I really want you there. She considered for a moment. I'll pay for my own flight, she compromised. The rest we can discuss. Does that mean you'll come? Her smile was answer enough. The Paris trip marked a turning point in their relationship. Watching Yates command the stage as he spoke about the future of energy to a packed auditorium, Lily saw yet another facet of the man she was falling in love with. And when he sought her out immediately after his speech, ignoring congratulations from industry leaders to ensure she'd enjoyed it, she knew with certainty that his priorities aligned with hers. Their days were filled with conference events and business meetings, but their evenings belonged to Paris. They walked along the Seine, visited small galleries off the tourist path, and discovered tiny restaurants where they practiced their terrible French to the amusement of patient servers. On their last night, after a dinner at a small bistro in Montmartre, Yates led her to a quiet spot overlooking the city lights. I have something to tell you, he said, his expression serious. Lily felt a momentary panic. What is it? Remember your business plan? For the fitness studio. She nodded, confused by the change in topic. I showed it to some investors, without your name attached, he added quickly. Just the concept and financials. Yates, she began, unsure whether to be angry or curious. Just hear me out, he said. 3 separate investment groups want to meet with you. They think your model has significant potential, especially your inclusivity approach and sliding scale membership structure. Lily stared at him, processing this information. You really showed my plan to investors? I did, he admitted. And I'm prepared for you to be mad about it, but these are legitimate opportunities, Lily. No strings attached to me or my company. She was quiet for a long moment. I should be angry, she finally said. You went behind my back. I know, I'm sorry. But, she continued, I also know you did it because you believe in me. Not just as your girlfriend, but as a business owner. Yates took her hands. I believe in you completely, and I'll support whatever you decide. Meet with them, don't meet with them, tell me to mind my own business. I'll meet with them, she decided. But next time ask first. Next time, he agreed, relief evident in his voice. He hesitated, then added, there's something else I need to say. The seriousness in his tone made her heart rate quicken. What is it? I love you, Lily. The words were simple, direct, his eyes never leaving hers. I've known it for weeks, maybe months, possibly since you corrected my boxing stance. Lily felt warmth spread through her chest. I love you too, possibly since you admitted your fear of butterflies, he laughed, pulling her closer. It's a legitimate phobia. It's adorable, she countered, leaning up to kiss him with the lights of Paris twinkling below them. 6 months later, Lily stood in the center of an empty commercial space, trying to envision where equipment would go. The large windows let in natural light, illuminating the potential of the bare room. What do you think? Yates asked, watching her expression carefully. The location's good, close enough to downtown for business clients, but with residential neighborhoods nearby too. It's perfect, Lily breathed, turning in a slow circle. Absolutely perfect. Her fitness studio was becoming reality faster than she'd ever imagined. After meetings with the investors Yates had connected her with, she'd secured initial funding. Combined with her savings and a small business loan, she had enough to launch. Yates had been true to his word about supporting her independence. He'd offered connections and advice when asked, but never pushed or tried to take over. He'd attended meetings only when invited and had been clear with his investor contacts that any decision to back her business should be based solely on its merits. When can we start renovations? She asked, already mentally designing the space. Lease says we can begin next week, Yates replied. I know a contractor who specializes in fitness facilities if you want recommendations. Definitely. She walked to where he stood, wrapping her arms around his waist. Thank you for believing this could happen. I just made introductions, he said. You did the hard part. Still, she insisted, having you in my corner made a difference. He kissed the top of her head. Always. As they locked up the empty space that would soon become Lily's dream business, she marveled at how much had changed in a year. From early morning check-ins to building a life together, their journey had been unexpected in the best possible way. That night, in the apartment they now shared, Yates seemed unusually nervous as they finished dinner. Everything okay? Lily asked. You've been checking your phone all evening. Just waiting for an email, he said vaguely. Actually, would you mind grabbing my tablet from the bedroom? I want to show you some design ideas for the studio. When Lily returned with the tablet, she found Yates down on one knee in their living room, a small velvet box in his hand. What are you doing? She asked, though the answer was obvious. Something I've been thinking about since Paris, he said, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. Lily Prescott, you walked into my life when I wasn't looking for anything but a good workout. You saw me as just a guy at the gym, not a CEO or anything else. You challenged me, supported me, and made me happier than I've ever been. He opened the box, revealing a simple but elegant diamond ring. Will you marry me? Lily felt tears spring to her eyes. Yes, she said without hesitation. Absolutely yes. As he slipped the ring onto her finger, she laughed suddenly. You know what's funny? If I hadn't taken that awful early morning shift, we might never have met. I'd like to think we would have found each other anyway, Yates said, standing to pull her close. But I'm grateful for 5:45 a.m. check-ins. Me too, Lily agreed, looking at her ring. Though I'm also grateful those days are behind us. Speak for yourself, he teased. I still need my morning workouts. Yes, but now I can join you instead of watching from behind a desk. Partners in everything, he said, the words a promise. And as they sealed that promise with a kiss, both reflected on the unexpected journey that had brought them together from early morning routine to a lifetime commitment, from professional distance to profound connection. What had started as simple gym check-ins had evolved into something neither could have anticipated, but both now treasured above all else. In the end, Lily realized that the most valuable things in life, love, dreams, connection, couldn't be measured in dollars or status. And Yates understood that his greatest fortune wasn't the company he'd built or the wealth he'd accumulated, but the authentic relationship they'd created together. One workout, one coffee, one honest conversation at a time.